Hello, everybody. Welcome back to youtube.com/Geek.Aloud. It's Tuesday night. It's real close to 8 p.m.ish this evening. Of course, I'm joined by Unkie. Sir, how are you this evening?
Mate, I'm very well. I reckon this is the closest we've come to hitting Tuesday 8 p.m.ish for quite some time. So applause to all of us, to be honest.
That is. Thanks, mate. Let's break out that record book as we welcome Bully. Sir, how are you, mate?
I am very good. So I just had a bit of a loop in my ears there. But, travelling well, going well. And a bit of a shock that we're this close to 8 o'clock, but never mind. We'll push on.
It's exciting. We're trying to keep it tight this evening, so don't mind us as we push on through rather quickly. But I can start by telling you the run of show. And, of course, we start off with games, Interrogation, and Deliberation. That is all the games we've been playing this week. Then, of course, we come over to the news segment. Unkie kicked in some news doors so hard he got a blister on his foot. Unkie, how's that news roundup looking?
Mate, he's looking all right despite the old foot, but no, we'll get through it.
Perfect. I love it. And then, of course, it is the standoff. And, Steve, I know you've been limping on that blister, mate, but how's the standoff faring?
Mate, standoff's faring pretty well tonight. There's a big game coming out later this year called Callisto Protocol, and it's a spiritual successor to the old Dead Space series, given the fact that the director's moved on. So tonight we're asking, what is the best spiritual successor? And we've got a list of 9 games, realistically only 8, as you'll find out soon enough. But we'll see which one we think's the best one of these, and feel free to sound off in the chat which one you think might be the best, or if there's one we've forgotten, let us know that too.
I didn't know where you were going with that. I thought you were going to refer to some grotesque monster in Callisto Protocol as that blister on the back of your foot.
Mate, they're one of the same. You can always take a photo of this and just insert it straight into that game at about this stage.
And then, Unkie, I've just got a quick pitch for you for next week's standoff. Do we, in anticipation of Ragnarok being delayed, do biggest game delays of 2022?
I do like that idea, but I'm still sticking with the fact that's not going to be delayed at all. But that's actually not a bad idea. I don't mind that idea. We'll go with it anyway.
Perfect. And then, of course, we come over to you in the audience with Audience Interrogation, segment 4. Is Ragnarok going to get delayed? Who's waiting for the inevitable tweet about, caring for the game developers and, out of respect, pushing it back? No? No one? Let me know in the chat. All right, that'll do for that. Now, games, Interrogation, and Deliberation is this button. All right, fellas, first up this week. Now, this has to be Bully. Bully, have you been spending some time in Disney's Dreamlight Valley?
Well, I have, and I'll tell you what, it is surprisingly not a bad little game. You can laugh, you can joke, you can jest, but it's got, I don't know why, for some reason, I'm a bit of a sucker for your Disney characters and all that sort of stuff. And it starts off a bit weird. It gives you a bit of a story and a bit of a lead-in as to what's happened, but essentially the evil villains in the game have basically taken over, and all the characters sort of been dispersed across the Disney world and all the rest of it. Essentially, it's a bit of a gopher game, but it's almost a slightly dumbed-down version of Animal Crossing. Where you're given little tasks to do, you need to craft something or you need to be able to do something, so you've got to go off and find resources, and it's essentially like that. It's Animal Crossing with the Disney characters in it. Graphically, I reckon it looks really good. It's just like a cartoon, all the rest of it. I don't think when you're talking to the characters, you could probably skip through a lot of that. It's a bit mundane. The dialogue that you have between them, but when you're actually playing it and sort of whizzing around, it gives you little tasks to do, as I said, and it's quite good. And I'll jump into one of the other games we've been playing later, but it's good to just a relaxing chill out. You don't really have to think about it. You can just sort of cruise around that world, and I've probably put 4 or 5 hours into it, but really enjoyed it, I'll be honest with you.
Nice. The first question from me is, which game service were you able to pick this up for free on?
That was on Game Pass, so I think it was day one that it came to Game Pass. So jumped on that, downloaded it. I don't think it's a big install either. So if you're having issues with your internet, or you've got limit on your downloads or whatever, that's one to jump into because it's not that big and it's pretty quick to get on.
Or if you're sure it'll take 45 seconds to download. But I'm just looking. Is it voice acted at all by the characters, or is it all just text?
There's a little bit of voice acting, but it's it's a lot of text in there as well. But from what I've been able to glean so far is that what's been released at the moment is in essence, it's not like an early access, but it's like a base version of the game with a couple of different worlds. So I've done sort of the Disney Kingdom, and once you get through a few quests in that, then you can pick one of a couple, and you can see on the screen there you've got Ratatouille, I think. It might come up shortly, but that's or has just come up. But that's sort of that's the first sort of other world other than the Disney world, and then there's other worlds based on all the characters and stuff like that. And I think I read the other day that they're releasing the first DLC or the first bundle to be released is based on Toy Story. So
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like it's, obviously they've got a fair bit of IP and different characters and movies and all the rest of it. So this could potentially, if they keep dropping DLC over the next 12, 18 months, 2 years, potentially this could just go on and on and on and keep expanding, which, as I said, I've enjoyed it so far and I'll be jumping back in it, especially if they start releasing some of those new worlds to jump into.
How's the achievements going?
I don't think I've pinged any achievements yet, to be honest. I had a quick look through them, and they're quite sort of grindy, I think is probably the best way to put it, that you've sort of got to get either your character up to a certain level or you've got to, it's, as I said, it's like Animal Crossing, so you've got to do a lot of mining and a lot of farming and all that sort of stuff, and it all ties into that you've got to get it to a certain level to be able to start picking off those trophies or the achievements on Xbox. So I don't think I've actually hit one yet, to be honest with you.
Perfect. And sorry, I cut you off completely, mate. What were you saying?
That's what I was going to say. Is the DLC paid? So we've got like free on Game Pass, so you pay for DLC, or is it all free through Game Pass? Because I think the game, is retailed $44.95 through PlayStation from memory serves.
Yeah, I think I haven't read into it, but I would assume that the DLC is going to be paid for. So I can't really see it being like a full price AAA DLC, but if it was $5 or thereabouts for each sort of level or each different world, and as I said, they've got plenty to draw on, so they can, if you wanted to pick and choose which ones you wanted eventually as they start releasing more and more, and if it was that sort of level at $5 or so per level, I don't think that's entirely unreasonable, to be honest.
Very good. Sorry, Billy, can I just get you to just flick your mic up a bit, mate? You are coming in real hot. If you just put it straight up, no, put it like right up against your head, mate, so it's nowhere near your mouth. We want to back your level way off.
Oh, apologies. Is that a bit better for you?
It's still too hot, man, if you could just pull it up. Sorry. And I think that'll do it. Sorry, unless you had any final points there, mate.
No, as I said, it's free. Jump on it.
Perfect. I love it. Any final points for you on this one, Unkie?
No, let's move on from a free game to a very expensive game.
All right, very good. That must be you, Unkie. Straight over to The Last of Us Part 1 Remaster Take 3.
Okay, so, mate, we're going to start this one a little bit differently, okay? I've figured out the price tag for this game, okay? And I'm going to let you do some simple maths, all right? And then we'll figure out what that math is, okay?
Perfect.
I'll give you the number 42, okay? Number $42, okay?
Right.
Plus $87.
Okay.
What does that equal?
No idea. You tell me.
Bully, I'll get you to do some quick maths. You tell me what's $42 plus $87 equal?
Got it. Absolute rip-off.
No. I want the exact number.
$129.
$129. Okay, if I told you that $42 was the admission price to the Melbourne Zoo, right? You then pay $87 to pat a giraffe. You have to pay $129 to pat a giraffe. What if I told you $129 in The Last of Us Part 1 with the use of the DualSense controller allows you to pat a giraffe?
I'd say pass.
And I'd say you're still being ripped off.
Plus, you get to play the whole game. What I'm trying to get at here is Naughty Dog went to Melbourne Zoo and said, how much does it cost to pat a giraffe? They said, price of admission plus per $129. They said, bang, Oz dollars, $129. There you have it. I've solved it.
Wait, I've got a question for you. How many Australians have paid that price to pat a giraffe at the Melbourne Zoo, and does that number equal the amount of sales they've made of this copy in Australia?
I don't know now. Well, I don't know. That's what they're probably appealing to that market now that didn't want to spend that money on just to pat a giraffe. Now you can play the full Last of Us Part 1 and its expansion, the DLC, for $110 and get the sensation of patting a giraffe. I have finished the game now. I've pat the giraffe. Let me just say that dual sense. I have patted a giraffe in real life, and I can tell you it's 1-for-1. Guys, it is 1-for-1. So I will never be paying money to pat a giraffe ever again. I'll just replay that level as much as I like. So you can essentially say, I'm patting a giraffe as many times as I like for that $129, not just a once off. So there you go. There you have it. I've solved the price debacle with The Last of Us Part 1. You are welcome.
Fantastic, mate. Good work.
That is the most ridiculous reasoning I've ever heard.
To be honest, when I was doing my research, I couldn't believe it actually came to $129 equal. I'm not making this up. Those are legit stats. I was actually going to go over the angle that it costs more to go to the Melbourne Zoo to pat a giraffe, but it came up to the exact same price. So that was just a happy coincidence. Anyway, the game itself, I did finish it. I will go for the platinum. It's a very enjoyable platinum.
What was the hour count?
I reckon maybe anywhere between the 12 to 15 hours. I didn't check it. It's probably similar to what it was.
15, bully, quick maths, what do you pay per hour?
Too much, he says. Anyway, like the game itself, like incredible all the way through. Just all those moments that you're used to in the game and the crescendo and how it all ends are just so much better with all the new graphics. But I spoke about that last week, so I don't need to go into too much depth about it. But when you finish it, you do unlock a whole bunch of extras like you did with the Last of Us Part 2 and Uncharted 4. You can go and unlock unlimited ammo if you want, unlimited crafting, slow-mo and all that kind of stuff, which makes it feel like you're playing Max Payne if you really want to. Nice. You got a whole bunch of art stuff you can do to change the way the game looks. You can change the way the game sounds. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You unlock new outfits for Ellie and Joel, which some of the outfits I thought for Ellie were quite cool. Like you could actually put her in different outfits from all different Sony games. Like you got Astrobot Horizon, like Ratchet, Returnal, Resistance, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Uncharted. Like there's a whole bunch of different outfits you can put her in. You can put her in the outfit that she wears from Last of Us Part 2 as well, if you like. Joel's got a few different checkered shirts that he can put on. So there's that.
Can you put Ellie in Joel's daughter's clothes from the opening scene?
I don't believe so. I don't think that's one of them.
Would that be considered poor taste?
It probably would be. You can, however, put Joel's character model is the same as how he is at the start of Last of Us Part 2 with his longer hair and leather jacket when he's riding the horse. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Can you put either of them in a suit made of money?
Well, it does cost in-game money to actually put them in any of these things. So
of course it does.
Yes. But it doesn't matter. Like I had like 800 points or something, and by the time I got through it, I could unlock pretty much everything in the game had to offer in terms of those extras. So, but it does break it up really nicely. So if you've missed like an audio conversation with someone in the game or any of the collectibles, you can go level by level and then like different checkpoints within that level. It'll tell you where you've missed those collectibles, so it's really easy to go back and find them to hit that platinum. And I've just started playing The Last of Us Left Behind, which is the DLC again, and I've only ever played that. I've played The Last of Us, probably this is my 5th time finishing The Last of Us, but this is only my 2nd time playing through the DLC, and already so far, because I haven't played it so much, like it's kind of like playing it for the first time, and I'm really enjoying it with its whole new sort of update and everything as well. So no, I've really enjoyed my time with The Last of Us Part 1. It's still sitting very highly on my list of games of the year, just even though it is a remake, it's a game I've played for so long. It's such a good game and such a good experience the second time round. But I'm just more so than anything to tell you that the price is now justified, because where else can you pat a giraffe in real life for this price over and over again?
I guess you win then?
Yeah, I dare say I do.
Speaking of winning, Game 3 this evening, it's me on some Dead Cells action with the arcade stick. And I'm going to say 2 big thumbs up. I can't recommend the arcade stick enough. Bully, I got to tell you, mate, you need to source one of these and get your hands on it. It's fresh air into your entire back catalogue of gaming, anything 2D, mate. I can't recommend it enough. That playthrough is available on the channel, so check it out if you're into that. But Game 4 this evening is Bully, and you've had a look at some Call of Duty, mate.
Yeah, back on this again. I don't know what it is. It's one of those games that you just sort of, I'll have one more game, and I think I said to you last week, it's really well balanced. To the point where even if you have one bad game, you don't really feel like you're getting dudded and you're getting overwhelmed. You just jump back in and have another go. So probably not much more to say than I did last week, but really enjoying it. The progression system works well. I haven't tipped any money into it. And I reckon for the first time in a long time, it's probably almost going to get me to go day one or close enough to on the new Modern Warfare, I reckon.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. Do we expect the Activision Blizzard deal will have closed by then? Is there a chance we'll be picking it up for free day one Game Pass style, do you think?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I think they're still battling their way through a number of countries. I think the last one, although I think I've been through the US and Brazil, I think, weirdly enough, and they're over in the UK at the moment trying to battle away with their regulators. I think that's where that whole Sony v Xbox thing blew up over the last week or so.
Yeah, he's getting angry. It is they not holding too much hope out of keeping Call of Duty on their console. I'll tell you that.
Oh, they gave me. Oh, yeah, no, sook Jim Ryan.
Yeah,
they gave me something that they don't really need to, and that's not enough for me, Sookie boy.
Yes. Now I can actually vouch for Bully. He says he said he worked a lot last week, but I guarantee every time I jumped on the PlayStation app, I saw Bully logged into Call of Duty. So I'm not sure what he meant by work, but he's definitely been putting in a lot of time to COD this week.
So that remote play is working well then, Bully?
Oh, if only I could.
All right, then. It must be time to Game 5, and I believe, Unkie, you've been probing some humans in Destroy.
I have been probing humans in real life and in video game form. Don't ask too many questions. I did give the probably best review I've ever given last week on this game. Too bad you all missed it. So I won't get into too much detail about it. Just know that the review I did give was, an 11 out of 10. Just like that chick's cleavage on the screen. No, it's a fun game. I did say last week that I did play the remaster for number 1 when that came out as well, and it sort of showed its age with not so much with the gameplay, but just sort of with the way the game was structured a bit. I think with number 2, which I've never actually played, straight away the structure is better. It's sort of slightly more open world, and the way it sort of handles its side missions and main missions is a lot better. The game is absolutely gorgeous. Like, this is how you need to do remakes or remasters, whatever you want to call it. This, I dare say, is almost a remake with how good it looks.
And so which console are you
on? Series X for this one.
Very good.
I've had a couple of full-on crashes of the game, and and it seems to sort of every time before that's happened, I've had a few frame rate stutters and stuff. But that seems to be the only issues I've had with it. I haven't really lost too much progression, but the game otherwise runs sort of flawlessly at your 60 frames per second and looks gorgeous. Just every time it seems like the game's freaking out a little bit, it does crash. So I'm sure they'll fix it up with a patch, but I've been really impressed with the humour of the game. It's obviously they haven't changed anything, and they do give you a warning when the game starts that, don't get offended by the humour. It was in a different time. We haven't changed this due to the artistic direction of the game at the time. It's going to stay the same, and I'm glad they did because the humour of the game, you could not bring a game like this today with all the woke people out there, but it's definitely a different change of pace for what we're used to, and you get a lot of laugh out loud moments. You got your obviously the attitude of the alien. He's essentially Jack Nicholson in alien form, and he's very misogynistic and stuff in his behaviour and actions. And you do have what's it called? Trying to think of the talking trees. What do you call them? Dialogue options. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh.
where you get to pick what he actually says throughout conversations, and he can go sort of quite risque with some of the responses you do. You can choose to go straight past it, or if you're like me, you'll choose every risque option possible and see what the reactions are from the people around you, and they're always quite humorous. So definitely a fun time, especially if you enjoyed this series back in the day. It's a good nostalgia trip for you. But even if you just want a brand new game that looks really pretty, that's sort of, if Saints Row didn't hit for you with the humour and stuff like that, and the sort of aesthetic and art style, then dig into Destroy Humans too. I think you'll have a fun time.
Perfect, mate. Sounds like it'll be great for me in Game Pass or something in 3 to 6 months, say, whenever it drops in there. Hopefully it'll be patched by then, and I'll be in for a good laugh.
Absolutely. I think this could definitely hit Game Pass or even PlayStation Plus games or something like that.
Yeah, perfect. Looking forward to it. Any thoughts from you, Billy?
No. As I said, Dunkie, last week, you gave it a fairly thorough review, so it's probably one I reckon I'll jump on the back catalogue, but I think I had to look at some of the releases that are coming out over the next couple of months, and it's I don't know when I'm going to get to this, but I'll try to get to it at some point.
Don't worry, mate. There'll be a few delays in there.
It's true.
All right, game 6. It's me, and back to the arcade stick just briefly. Now, here's a game that, one, I can't pronounce, but two, I have never been able to pass the opening level with the old previous controller. However, hooking up the arcade stick and going for broke, I've been able to get through the first 2 levels, which I was pretty impressed with myself. I don't know, fellas. 1, what's this game called? And 2, did you guys play it and enjoy it?
Mate, I'm going to go with Sign Mora is the name of the game. It's the best way I could probably put it. Or Sign Mora. Like, depends what accent you want to put on it, really. Like, you can really go whatever you want. Sign Mora.
Is that like the Aussie Bogan accent, isn't it? Sydney Mora, mate. Come on.
Sign Mora.
If you don't want to play this, I'll take you at the back and give you a flogging.
Yeah, you better play Sign Mora.
Well, I'm totally enjoying it.
The name Mora.
Perfect. Have you fellas gotten into it in the past? I know it was critically acclaimed back in the day. Originally an Xbox 360 arcade game, it goes back that far.
I don't think I did. I reckon maybe I picked it up on a Games with Gold, I think, back in the day at some point. And maybe this boss fight looks familiar, and I feel like I played it, and I reckon I was like you. I reckon I died and then just kicked it to the curb, and I was like, nope, I don't want to keep doing this.
Although it was in a lot of people's Game of the Year contender talks at the time, it was critically acclaimed, I believe. How about you, Believe? You ever gone hands-on with this one?
No, I haven't. It looks like quite a good game, like graphically. But I'm just looking at the old bullet hell that's coming across the screen right now, and that is something that would frustrate me no end. And if I did have one of those expensive arcade sticks, it'd probably get me thrown across the room at that point.
Oh, it's so heavy though. You'd be doing well to flip it across the room. But I take your point.
I'm looking at this. Does Cuphead have stick compatibility? Could you use your thing?
I've indeed hacked my arcade stick to work in Cuphead, and I've passed a few bosses, I'll have you know, mate. This is just coming up all sorts of gold for me.
Beautiful, because I was looking at that bullet hell stuff, like, it looks very Cuphead to me. I'm like, maybe Troy does stand a chance in Cuphead if he's got that stick in hand.
I really do, mate. It's turned my whole outlook on 2D games on its head, so to speak, and I can't recommend it. If you've got old man hands, if the arthritis bothers you, I cannot recommend getting hold of an arcade stick enough, and Microsoft, come on, Xbox department. Phil, I'm talking to you. Enable an arcade stick. You've got the fantastic, oh gosh, I'm blanking on it. What's that not arcade stick, the control they put out that was fully customizable?
The accessibility.
No, not the accessibility one. Yeah, what was that called?
Oh, I can't remember the name of it.
Anyway, we need the equivalent.
It's just an arcade stick. And find out what it is.
We need a new arcade stick to come out. It needs to be thick. It needs to be bulky. But I got to tell you, there's a big population of us gamers that are getting on a bit in years, and our hands aren't what they were. But the arcade stick is a breath of fresh air, and we really need it to be brought back in. There needs to be one that you don't need to have a hacking USB dongle to make it work.
The adaptive controller is just simply what it was called.
That's the one.
That's the one. Thank you, sir.
We're all pretty good at handling big, thick sticks, aren't we, boys?
Indeed.
For gaming.
Definitely. But that'll do it for this week's Games Interrogation Deliberation. So, well, the first bit, onto the overtime. And Unkie, I hand it over to you, mate. I understand you've gotten a fair bit of overtime this week, so take us through it.
I have had a fair bit of overtime. Like, again, I've dabbled in a whole bunch of things, but only really had time for Last of Us. But I have dabbled back into Biomutant, which had a new next-gen patch this week as well. So just loaded my hard copy disc back in, Bully. I know you'd be impressed with that I actually had a hard copy of a video game. I mean, you're probably not too impressed that it was Biomutant, but I did have a copy of that game, chucked it back in and got the next-gen update for free, which was nice. Running that game at 60 frames per second was already a very pretty game in 30 frames, but jump back in there for a little bit. RPG, comic book stylings. You play as a little ferret-looking dude that wears cool armor and shoots cool guns and stuff, so that was fun. Jump back into, speaking of updates and patches, Cyberpunk 1.6,
yes.
Which I believe was in the news last week, but I don't think we touched on it. I think we might have missed it. I can't remember. But that had a patch as well with the new Edge Runners anime that's out, I think, this week. Potentially could even be today.
Today, I believe, yeah.
Today, yeah. So there's an Edge Runners update there. So a whole bunch of new weapons and some side missions, some outfits and stuff. You can now transmorg, which is absolutely fantastic. You can actually change the way your character looks without changing your abilities, which is awesome. So jumping back into Cyberpunk and just realizing I do actually really like that game, and I was really hoping with that 1.6 we were going to get a new game plus, but that wasn't to be. Immortality, which is on Game Pass, is another one that I chucked on for maybe 20 minutes. Only
now, is this the one about the woman and the actress that's gone missing?
Yeah, that's the one. So it's a live-action sort of movie. I can't remember the developer there. He's done a few other games before. It was something about Alice or something was one of them.
Not Alice Madness Returns, not that one.
No, definitely not that great game anyway. But I can't remember. Anyway, this is apparently, by all accounts, the best game they've done. It's got rave reviews. It's sort of sitting between the 9s and sort of 9.5. There's a few 10s out there for this game. It's reviewed really well. And I can see why. I jumped in there for 20 minutes, and just the way it sort of all handles, and they've acting in it, the way it's filmed is perfect. Like you have scenes that you've got to try and dig into, and you can you can pause at any time, rewind, fast forward, like the old scrubbing way you can on like old school movies. And
similar to Cyberpunk. That's got some investigation moments.
Kind of like that. Whereas this one, like, say you'll be watching an interview with the actress, and you'll pause, there's a mug on the screen, you'll click on the mug, and it'll go back to another scene within a movie where there's like a mug there, and then you delve into that, and you've got to try and piece together the scenes and the photos together to sort of get a chronological thing of all the movies that she's made. There's 3 movies that have been missing, and it's just mystery about what happened. But it's really intriguing so far. Like, I found myself sitting there for way longer than I was going to, just getting into it, knowing that I was always going to start from the scratch because I really wanted to play it with my wife and just sort of have that experience. Whether that actually happens, I don't know. I was kind of envisioning like a Quarry kind of experience where we sit down and do it, but I'm not sure if it'll grab her quite like it's grabbing me, but it's got that sort of old school movie vibe, which I really enjoy. So I could see myself getting that. All the reviews I've heard, I'm really excited to actually give it a go. Just need the time to do it.
Yep.
The Back for Blood expansion, Children of the Worm, I've been into that and finished that off. It was a new 5-part campaign for Back for Blood. Really cool. Introduces new human enemies with sniper rifles and stuff.
Sorry, mate. That's one act at the end that consists of 5 chapters. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's like a completely new act. I think it's Act 5 with, I think, I want to say 7 chapters within that. Some longer than others, but a decent chunk of content anyway. I played it on the veteran difficulty, which is, so I think you've got easy, normal, like veteran essentially.
So what you're saying is #RealGamer?
#RealGamer, yep. I did initially play the full game originally on the easy difficulty, then bumped it up to veteran and got through it and finished it on veteran as well, but decided to start the DLC on veteran and finished it on that. So,
what's the loot drop like in it?
Pretty good. There's a few new weapons. You get some claws. They kind of like can rock around like Wolverine if you like. But
nice.
Unfortunately, melee was never really my way to go in that game. I think there's a new rifle as well. There's a new submachine gun. It was just really enjoyable the way they sort of set up the encounters and sort of some of the boss fights in there, and the new human enemies with sniper rifles that can do heavy damage from far away. Sort of add a new dynamic to the game, which I thought was quite fun. It's just fun to be shooting zombies again. Like I really felt like games I didn't have to think about too much this week, and that was definitely easy to jump in and just shoot things and watch the gore on screen. Still one of the most fun experiences I've had this year, and still sitting in my top 5 for games I played this year.
I love it.
And still playing Mad Max, just consistently surprised and impressed with the visceral combat, not only with the vehicle combat, which I'm really enjoying, the way the vehicle's handled, but just the hand-to-hand combat. It's so visceral. Like they slow-mo at the right time. Like you hear the bones crunch. It's just really good sound design and stuff to go with what you're seeing on the screen at any given time. And the sort of the open world stuff. I actually had this as an idea for possibly as a standoff in the coming weeks, but games that came out at the wrong time. Based on Mad Max, because Mad Max literally came out the same week or day as Metal Gear Solid 5, as we've mentioned earlier, and we've obviously got other games like
Horizon
that came out, Titanfall that came out I think the same week as Call of Duty and a Battlefield or something like that. I think there's a few games on that list that we could argue came out at the wrong time, but we'd like to find out which is the best of. So keep your ears tuned. We might be talking about that soon.
Indeed, if you're watching along with us, throw them in the comments if you've got any to go with it.
That's it. That is my overtime for the week. Troy, I believe you've been in some Rocket League.
I have just a little bit of Rocket League, and here's what I want to throw at you guys. Question without notice. I was playing Rocket League and I happened to notice it's got the little Xbox Series X and S logo on the Xbox Series X now. So it's next-gen support on the Xbox. However, I jumped onto my PlayStation 5 and had a look, and sure enough, it's only a PlayStation 4 copy on there. The question is, did they announce anywhere that they had done the next-gen release on Xbox? Because it was news to me when I saw the thumbnail.
I don't know. I thought they'd done that in the PS5 update a while ago, but I might be wrong on that one.
No, I don't think they have. I think they've stealth released that one, and I haven't seen anyone talking about it. Unkie, please, mate, have you seen or heard anything?
No, I've heard nothing at all. Like, I've been sort of looking through the news and everything the last few weeks. I'm pretty all over that stuff. I haven't seen anything official.
I think they've unofficially slipped out the next-gen version on Xbox. So if you're a Rocket League fan and you play on the Xbox Series X, check it out. Make sure you install, because Season 8 just came out. So my suspicion is when they released Season 8 about 2-3 weeks back, I reckon they rolled out the Xbox Series X new release, and for some reason no one's talking about it. But I'm here to tell you it's there now, and it looks pretty goddamn good.
There's nothing like unofficially slipping out, Troy.
Oh, oh, look out, you might get in trouble. And as we said, Bully has been flat out with other things, so no overtime for Bully. That means, Steve, you know what it's time for, my friend?
Let's kick in some news doors.
Let's do it. Let's wrap up that foot. No, I'm going to hit one more button. Oh, I'm jumping too many screens over. There's a news button here somewhere. You have the right to remain newsworthy. All right, where is my correct screen? Here we go, look at that. All right, story one this evening from IGN. PlayStation State of Play has been announced for the September the 13th, which was tomorrow when the headline was written. Unkie, what are we thinking about this one?
Mate, I'm hoping to see a whole bunch of stuff, but I reckon we'll get a bit more God of War. This is looking like it's dropping at 8 a.m. for us tomorrow morning, so thankfully I'm on an afternoon shift, so I should be up to watch this maybe live. We'll see how we go, but we're looking at it's going to feature 20 minutes, so they can cram a fair bit in there. It looks like we're going to get footage from 10 games, PS5, PS4, and PlayStation VR 2, so not sure what else. Maybe they could show some more Spider-Man or Wolverine or something like that.
Well, I reckon this is tied to Tokyo Game Show, so I reckon it's fairly heavily slanted towards your Japanese developers, I reckon. And the couple I was looking at there was, Final Fantasy. I reckon they'll give it a release date, and I reckon the one out of left of centre, Bloodborne PS5 version.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Boy, who's making that? Bluepoint?
Because
Bluepoint's been, I'm pretty sure Bluepoint said they're out making a new IP at the moment.
Well, because they've wrapped up the Bloodborne PS5 version.
Oh, do you reckon they've had time between that and Demon Souls? I don't know.
I reckon
just do it. Just do it.
No, I love it, Billy. No. I'm putting all my chips on that one. I love the sound of that. Here's my conspiracy theory for you. If we don't hear anything about Ragnarok tomorrow, it's because they're definitely going to delay it. So if there's a lack of God of War tomorrow, just know that that's confirmation that delay is inbound.
That game's not getting delayed, Troy. I'm telling you that. It's not.
Delay incoming, people. Be ready.
I told you, mate. If that game gets delayed, I will buy you the collector's edition.
And I'm looking forward to picking up that collector's edition in February next year. But the PSVR 2, that's the big news. So, my prediction for tomorrow is, realistically, I'm hoping to see some Half-Life Alyx action on the PSVR 2.
I'd like that.
Well, I'd like to see a release date, but I reckon, what about the Resi 8 VR mode?
Yes, that would be amazing. And wasn't there rumour that they were going to retrofit, go back and do a couple of other first persons?
I don't know. The Resi 8 one I could see. I know there's a Resi 8 updates coming out with the third person mode and stuff as well. I think it's November as well, early November or late October. Mm-hmm. So there is potential that could be a go, but I don't know.
And I reckon the other one, just even more left of centre than the Bloodborne one, I reckon we're getting an announcement of a new Silent Hill game.
Yeah.
Silent Hill new one or remake?
I reckon there's a remake incoming within the next a remake of one or two in the next 12 months, and a brand new entry will be announced as well. But that's probably another probably 2 to 3 years away.
Now, Bully, is Kojima linked to any of those?
Yes. He
Excellent.
The new one. I reckon it'll be. I reckon it'll be one of the other studios doing a remake, but Kojima will be in on the new one.
Perfect. I love the conspiracy theory. As you can see there, just on screen, there is the tweet from PlayStation themselves. Bully, Twitter, any news for us on that front?
Yes, if you want to jump on and follow any of the goings on, keep up to date with the Let's Plays and the Let's Installs, and of course with G.E.A, jump at Geek Aloud on Twitter, and you'll keep updated.
Perfect. I love it. That is a pro tip for everyone out there. As we move on to story 2 from GameSpot, Nintendo Direct, September 2022. Unkie, have you got a proper start time for us by chance?
I think it's actually midnight tonight for Australian Eastern Standard Time, from memory. Bully's nodding along. I feel like that's a nodding of, yep, I'm correct.
Yep.
That's confirmation that, Bully, you're staying up to watch it?
Not a chance.
I may. We'll see how we go. We'll see. I'm expecting to see some Zelda news. I'm hoping we see some Zelda news. I'm pretty sure it's highly rumored at the moment that we're going to see Zelda Wind Waker,
and Twilight Princess,
and Twilight Princess HD on Switch, which I'm really excited for. Wind Waker is probably one of my favorite Zeldas of all time. I absolutely love that art style, that game, especially with the sort of remaster or remake they did. They kind of, the re-release of that game, they sort of changed a few things within the game that made it not quite so grindy towards the end and made it a much more enjoyable experience. And for a game that I'd never finished when it first came out, I went back and played it and finished it the second time when they did that re-release. So I'm looking forward to sort of playing that again on the Switch. I'll be a day one adopter. You know I will be. For Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, never finished Twilight Princess. Can see myself play it again if there's some worthwhile updates to get into. But what I really want to see is I want to see some Breath of the Wild 2 stuff. I think it's been a while now since we've seen anything on Breath of the Wild 2. I think it's about time we get a name for the game as well. I think that could be, whether it's just a CGI trailer and then at the end of it they drop the actual name for the game. I don't necessarily need to see gameplay. I kind of think I know what to expect with a new Breath of the Wild. It's going to be more of the same. You know, it's going to be a bigger world. It's going to be mostly the same gameplay. I don't need to see it. I just want to know what it's called and potentially get a release date. And that's my hopes for it. I don't think we've had much Nintendo sort of press recently for big games.
No.
So I'm hoping this one, the fact that we haven't seen anything for a while, does drop some big stuff on us. So we'll see come midnight tonight. And I'll let Bully know when he wakes up tomorrow at 4:30 a.m.
Are you expecting any new DLC for Mario Kart 8? They seem to love wheeling that one out every chance they get.
Oh, they do. I would really like to see a new Mario Kart announced, but I don't think that's going to happen. But also, what I do want to see, there's been rumours that the guys that made Mario Odyssey, is it Odyssey? No, is that the newest one? Odyssey?
Yep.
Yeah, it's the Mario Odyssey team. There's rumours they're working on something, whether it's a new Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever. I'd like to see what they're up to because they've been in the dark for quite some time now. So whether we get that out of this could be a really good show, or it could be like a lot of Nintendo shows where we sort of hype them up and then not much comes out of them. So I'd like it to be the former.
Yes, it would be nice. We're going to need something in that big November hole that God of War's going to leave.
Well, I think that was my dark horse was Mario Odyssey 2, but I reckon the other one would be, we were talking about Zelda. It was supposed to be the anniversary year last year that I reckon a few things got delayed with COVID, and I reckon you'll see above and beyond Twilight Princess and Wind Waker a Zelda 3D collection come out.
Ooh, that'd be nice. Sign me up. Yes, please. All right, then. Story 3 this evening. I'm hoping everything's still... Yeah, it is. Look at that. All right, Marvel... sorry, this one's from Kotaku, and it's Marvel's Capcom... nope. Marvel's Captain America Cross Black Panther game. Steve, apparently there's 4 new things to learn.
Speaking of signing me up, mate, this is apparently, allegedly, almost confirmed, Amy Hennig's next game. So, if you don't know, she's the one that brought us Uncharted and was obviously working on that Star Wars project for quite some time before it got canned. So, this is her next game. Apparently, from what I've seen, it's a single-player game that does utilise...
And do we know the style it's in, mate?
No, there's nothing released. I could only think, being Amy Hennig...
What's happened here? I think I've lost audio.
All good, Troy?
I don't know. While he's working on it, just keep chatting away. I'll double check the feed, make sure it's still going.
Cool. I'm not sure if Troy's got us coming through or not at all.
I can't hear a gosh darn thing.
Troy, we're still here. If you can't hear us, we'll keep going.
We'll keep going because the live stream's still going on with the audio.
Live stream's still going. Cool. I'll keep talking about this then. So we've got Captain America and Black Panther, who are apparently set in World War II or somewhere
by chance?
thereabouts. Troy, I'm not sure if you can keep hearing us or not.
Oh, there we go, Steve. I've got you back. Sorry, mate. Hello, everyone.
Awesome. That's right. Bully can confirm the stream's sound is fine, so that's all good.
Perfect. Sorry, guys. Thank you. I had to kill the last story. I think I hit play on YouTube and I nuked my audio setup. My apologies.
No, that's fine. Just talking about this new game by Annie Hennig. So it looks like this is a single-player game where you play as these four characters, obviously one being Captain America, then the other Black Panther, then you've got, I think, a soldier on the Captain America side, then a Wakandan warrior on Black Panther side. Not sure how they're splitting up. We're set around World War II and all that as well. So not sure how they weave these four characters sort of in amongst themselves. But I'm excited to see what they can do with these characters, especially with Amy Hennig at the helm with this. I can only hope for a really good third-person action-adventure game. My only criticism at the moment is I do enjoy a game that does sort of solely stick to one protagonist. I don't mind if I've got all these characters around me, but I would like to sort of just build up on the one character where they pick Captain America or they pick Black Panther. I'd like to sort of stick to those, and I find you can maybe lose some of that momentum in a game where if you are sort of, you know, mixing between different characters, and there's always that sort of, you know, inkling that they might try and weave some kind of multiplayer element into it, which I would prefer they didn't, because again, Avengers, the best part of that game was that single-player game. As soon as you sort of got to the end game and it was all about the multiplayer stuff, that's when sort of most people fell off it. So I'd really like this to be a really nicely structured single-player game. But with Amy Hennig at the helm and Marvel sort of and their money behind it, I've got all faith this is going to be a great game.
Perfect. Sorry, everyone, for the nuking of the last tab, and we're obviously looking at the next story already, which is GameSpot's bringing us the biggest games and announcements from the Ubisoft Forward. Unkie, did you watch it live, mate, or how did that go for you?
I didn't watch it live. It also says that the Ubisoft Forward announcing a whole bunch of games, but it was pretty much just Assassin's Creed they announced, and a whole lot of Assassin's Creed. I think it was about 400 Assassin's Creed games coming out. They sort of mentioned a few things. I think there's a couple of mobile-only Assassin's Creed, or Jade, I think, was Assassin's Creed Mobile. I think Mirage is going back sort of to the old school Assassin's Creed 1/2 style, which excites a lot of people, I think, with the way that game sort of looked. And then Assassin's Creed Infinite was sort of put forward as more of like an Assassin's Creed hub kind of thing. Because Assassin's Creed Red, and there was another one as well, blanking on the name of it. But Red looks like it's going to be set in feudal Japan, which everyone's sort of been craving. But now that Ghost of Tsushima sort of came out, you're going to kind of want to elevate that game pretty highly if you're going to sort of match with that aesthetic. So hopefully they can do well with that. That's going to be the next big open world RPG, Assassin's Creed, according to this, whereas Mirage is going to be a more intimate sort of old school style of Assassin's Creed. So I kind of like what they're doing and sort of hitting it at different markets, but I'm just scared they're sort of spreading their, you know, development stuff too thin, maybe. Like, how much development's going into all of these games, and how much, you know, how much is their focus, you know, spread as opposed to just on the one thing, whether actually you could experience out of any of these things as opposed to just focusing on one good experience. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is a bit troubling. They do appear to be releasing a lot in a very short period of time. So I'm right with you, mate. We'll have to wait and see how this one cooks up. Billy, did you watch the Ubisoft Forward 2022, mate?
Yeah, I did. I'm a little with Unkie. You see little bits and pieces, and apart from the mobile games, which are obviously explain themselves that they're just a portable version, but you're sort of looking at going, okay, well, you know, we've got Mirage coming, but then we've got this other one coming, and then we've got this other one coming, and then Infinite, and you sort of go, well, where's it all tie in, and are they getting released separately? Is it a combined sort of thing, or is it like Unkie said, like Infinite's like a hub sort of thing, and then maybe you download or pay for different games as they come along, or different DLCs, however you want to phrase it. So I sort of liked what I saw overall, but left it a bit confused with where they're sort of going with it all.
Yeah, it looked to me the Infinite bit looks. If you've booted up one of the Call of Duties recently, you know how you boot it up now, and it's like the last 4 years of Call of Duty sitting on that main page. I'm suspecting it's something like that, but I don't know whether they were originally planning to tie in some sort of like subscription, maybe like whether you could just get an Assassin's Creed subscription, and they were going. I don't know what they're planning. It was very. It really feels like they only got half the picture. From that Ubisoft forward, it really felt like they're keeping some cards close to their chest. So I'm not really sure.
I was going to say, they got like a good aesthetic to use for it. They could use Abstergo as like that hub where like, obviously you go into different Assassin's Creed experiences. So it could work really well if they do it properly. I don't know, I could see it being really clunky and not well optimized, and I don't know, just like that Call of Duty thing that gets really clunky where like what game am I installing, and I don't know. It's if they could do it well, it'd be great, but and again, like it could be good seeing Assassin's Creed coming to mobile, but from what I hear, it's touchscreen controls only, so you can't even use like a controller with it, which is unfortunately, or thankfully, the Division game that's coming out for mobile only is you can use a controller, which I could be into. But some strange decisions, but we'll have to wait and see how it all
there was, from my point of view, there was nothing that was, ooh, give it to me now, like I can't wait to go hands-on. Did anything in the presentation grab either of you blokes?
Nah, not really. I'm a bit of Assassin's Creed out. I know they've had the breaks in between games, but the fact that the games have been so big, and I haven't even finished Origins, I haven't finished Odyssey as much as I loved it. Like, I really enjoyed Valhalla, never finished it. Like, these games are so big, so maybe something like Mirage probably gets me more excited than any of the other things if it's a smaller, more intimate campaign and it's solely built for next gen consoles and looks immaculate and all that. I could see myself getting into it, but I probably kind of only get excited once I start to see some gameplay for it.
Yeah, I'm with you totally on that. Bully, did anything grab you, mate? Did anything sort of tickle your pre-order vibes?
I don't think I'll be jumping on the pre-order for any of them, but I sort of agree with Unkie. The smaller Mirage style one, I reckon if that was a 20 to 30 hour single player content without the bloated sort of stuff that has crept into it that pushes it north of 100 hours, which is for a game like that, yes, there's story behind it, and yes, there's quests you can go and do, but ultimately once you've put your 20 or 30 hours into it, you're basically just rehashing the same combat against recycled enemies for the most part, and it just sort of drags on and on. I couldn't I probably put 40 or 50 hours into the latest one, and I couldn't tell you one bit of the story for the next, to be honest with you.
I'm there with you guys, but I've put over 160 hours in, I think, at this point. I just love the minute-to-minute gameplay of Assassin's Creed. No, I don't understand the story, what's going on narratively speaking, but I am a big sucker for minute-to-minute gameplay, and Assassin's Creed still has my number. I'm a big fan of the franchise, nothing enough to make me pre-order, and there was nothing new here, so I know I'm going to enjoy it to some degree, but I need a lot more details before I understand whether it's something I'm keen for day one and such.
I do have to say, Troy, I did watch Thor: Love and Thunder again this week, which just hit Disney Plus, and it did make me think of your Hammer Down in Valhalla. It gave me some thoughts to go back and play that game, but then I realised it's about a 100 gig game to download, and I don't have the space on my console, so I put the pin in that pretty quickly.
I'm pretty sure it's like 120 gig at this point.
So it's just like you put the pin straight through this blister right now.
Oh, look out. All right, that's got to be... my one production comment. I don't know what the director was thinking when he decided to have half the shots be people looking off camera. The most bizarre decision ever. I just felt like they were talking to... I kept looking around. Who is he meant to be talking to? Not me. He's not looking at me. What's going on? Crazy production. Anyway, the final story this evening is from Video Games Chronicles, and it's 343 Industries has restructured its leadership team following the axing of the previous studio head. Guys, do we think Bonnie Ross's skull will appear now as a Halo item? And what would the modifier do to the gameplay?
It probably won't. I didn't read this as she got axed. I read it as she left due to some family emergency, or that's what they've announced anyway, that she's left for some kind of family emergency.
It smelled like marketing speak to me. How many things have they delayed? How many things have they cancelled? And how many things got misfired? Somebody's head had to roll. This is the first head that was the studio head. I think it's pretty clear when you read between the lines exactly what happened here.
She didn't get axed. She didn't get axed. She just ran out of the building before the very sharp thing fell from the roof.
Oh, I think it's pretty clear she was told in no uncertain terms to vacate the position.
Well, I mean, it just goes from bad to worse. Every news story we hear about Halo Infinite and 343 is not good news at the moment. So I'm hoping there is a redemption story here. Obviously, there's plenty of good redemption stories about games and stuff like that. I think Halo is too big to fail, so I think they will just keep pushing it until it is good. And I think when they actually do get this update out in November, which will have online campaign co-op and to be able to replay campaign missions. It will bring Forge, which will bring a lot of creators to the game, and a lot of the content and stuff for this Halo community is driven by that Forge mode. So from what I've seen, that Forge mode is looking really good. It's in early access, and there's been a lot of good stuff coming out about that. So if that can come out and hit, I'm hoping that we see some sort of life breathed back into Halo. But what I would really like to see, some DLC for the main campaign, because that campaign is a very good game. I loved it. The gameplay itself is the best Halo has ever played.
Give me more surface missions.
Absolutely. That's the thing. It's one of those things that everyone sort of harks on all the bad news about Halo, but when that game first dropped and they dropped that multiplayer early, everyone was talking positively about it. It's not until sort of months later where the content sort of dried up for all those players playing it consistently where it started to sort of receive some bad feedback, like a lot of these these online games and service games where if you don't do it right, you're going to get a lot of bad feedback. And then obviously people enjoyed the campaign, but then they've obviously finished the campaign, so there's nothing more. So all of a sudden it starts becoming negative. So all the positive stuff people sort of stop talking about.
Yes.
But the game itself is a really good game and deserves better credit than probably what it's getting now. But obviously the studio is obviously deserved of the criticisms it's getting because it is a live service game that isn't receiving the updates it probably should at this time, especially as the game was delayed a year. Probably could have done with another year delay, to be honest. If you delay this game again for another year and put out everything with it, with Forge, multiplayer campaign co-op and all that, then you're obviously getting a better product on day one. But again, are people going to complain regardless? Like if you don't put the game out when it came out, people would have just complained that the game wasn't out yet and just been whinging about another year delay. So I get why they put it out the way they did, and they did garner some really goodwill by dropping that multiplayer early and everybody absolutely loving it. So I don't quite understand the hate they're getting by saying, people dropped off, because the game itself at its core is a very good game. They need to sort of start, getting that bar raising again as opposed to dropping, because, the game itself, as I said, is a great game. They just need to start releasing that content to get people back on board with it again.
Sounds good to me. Bully, if there's nothing from you, shall we move on to the new releases for the week?
Yeah, you can move on. Just before you do, I don't mean to make light of it, but the first line in that the previous slide that you had up that said she's leaving after 15 years to attend to a family medical issue. It almost sounds like she was in a meeting and said, I've got to duck out. I've got a sick kid at home, and they've gone, oh, she's resigned. Okay.
I love it. All right, so thanks to Game Informer, now we can bring you the upcoming releases for this week. Where are we? Little orifices? I have no idea. Coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, Steam. There's no Stadia, mate. What can you tell me?
Oh, geez, what am I going to play on? I have no idea. If I can't play it on my Stadia that I definitely own, where am I going to play it, Troy? I've got no idea.
Bully, you game for this one, mate?
No.
Are you sure, boy? You remember you did play Disney Princess's Land or whatever it was called from earlier in the show? I can't.
I have a standard to keep, please.
It's very low, but it's a standard.
Well, to be fair, it's either play a free Disney Dreamlight game or overpay for The Last of Us. That's where we're at.
We've already established that it's not overpaid. You get to pat a giraffe.
The giraffe.
For a once-off payment of $129. There you go. You get to pat a giraffe as much as you like. There you go. Don't go to the zoo, everyone. You've heard it here first.
Well, next up is Scourgebringer, but it's iOS and Android, so I'd suggest we're moving straight along to 13 is coming to the Switch on the 13th, coincidentally.
I find this strange because I know there's a re-release remaster of this very remaster coming out later in the year, so I'm very perplexed as to what this release is. I don't think it's the remaster of the remaster. I think it's just the
No, it's the second remaster that was released on Xbox and PlayStation, 12 months ago, whatever it was, is finally they've worked out how to put it on a Switch.
And so this is the shit version of the game, is that correct?
That's the one.
So if you buy this one, you get the free update later when they release the good version of the shit remaster. Is that correct?
No, you're just going to roll the toilet paper.
Okay, cool. Yep. Happy days.
Perfect. Next up, I'm glad we've got two police officers here to answer this one. You suck at parking. Coming to the Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC. Guys, do you hand out many parking tickets these days?
Mate, it's funny you should ask this. This game actually is releasing first in where I work in Box Hill. It's only on Xbox Series X and Xbox One. No PlayStation.
No, it looks very much like a Game Pass release.
Yeah, it is a Game Pass.
What kind of game is it, Bully? Do you know?
I've got no idea. I just saw it come up on the upcoming games on Game Pass. I haven't really looked into it. And
very good. Well, we'll have to check it out tomorrow on the 14th, I suppose. And then we have Bear and Breakfast coming to the Switch on the 15th. Anyone? Any interest on the old Bear and Breakfast?
I do like breakfast, and bears are okay.
We'll put it in the definitely maybe category for you then.
Definitely maybe, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, now, this one had a lot of praise earlier in the year. Metal Hellsinger. Unkie Dunkie, weren't you singing its praises, if I remember correctly? PlayStation 5.
I was definitely singing its praises back in the day. I played the demo that came out for it, which was awesome. It was kind of like Doom meets Guitar Hero with its rhythm combat. But it's awesome, and good to see Game Informer gave it a 9. I think IGN and GameSpot gave it 8 from memory.
Perfect. Do we know if it's coming free anywhere?
I don't think it is.
Metal Hellsinger is coming to Game Pass as well, yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, it is Game Pass.
Perfect.
So definitely get it there. But it's really good. I'm not sure if any of you guys jumped into the demo for it at all.
No, not I. Bully?
No, I didn't. Just before we keep going, I just had a quick look at You Suck at Parking. It's like a bit of a top-down racing game, but at the very end, you got to do some tricks and land on a parking spot. It actually looks quite enjoyable. I reckon I'll have to jump on that tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Check us out next week for episode 42 of the Gaming Enforcement Agencies, and we'll have Bully's impressions of You Suck at Parking. Next up this week, however, coming to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S is Outer Wilds. Now, strike me down, because I thought Outer Wilds had been out on the Xbox Series X and S for some time. What's going on here?
You can get it on there, but these must be native versions, I think.
The next gen versions.
Hopefully run at a better frame rate, because I remember jumping in Outer Wilds because I'd heard all the scuttlebutt saying it was a great game, and I jumped in. Frame rate was terrible. It ran at 30, but it still had frame hitches and stuff as well, so I bounced pretty quick. I know it's sort of a rogue-like kind of game where sort of you die and then you come back and you progress as the game goes on. So, not sure if I've got the patience for a game like that at the moment with the gameplay. Like if you give me a Returnal any day with that gameplay and that sort of mechanic, but a slow burn like Outer Wilds, I don't see myself jumping in it, even if it is on the next gen consoles.
Fair enough. Well, will anybody be slipping into Splitgate, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, PS4, Xbox One, and PC? This game, if I'm not mistaken, has been out for some time on both PlayStation and Xbox, so I suspect it must have been an early access title and now coming out for the full release. Anyone want to take a punt on that one?
I'm not sure. I'm just having a look at it, though. It looks like it was a free-to-play on Steam, I think. Described as a portal-fueled arena shooter.
Yeah, this is the one that came out around I think it came out around a similar time as the Halo dropped their early release for the multiplayer. So it kind of was out a few weeks before, then Halo came out and just killed it off. I don't know if it's Cisco. I think it is where the developers of this game have actually moved on to another first-person shooter multiplayer game now since that. So I'm not sure where that's at. I can't remember I'm reading through the news things now. Open beta has been extended, so maybe it is got a bit to go. But as far as I'm concerned, the developers moved on. Yeah, there you go. Splitgate launching in 1.0, but feature development will cease to focus on new projects. So there you go. There's a news article related to that. So I am correct. So I think, they got sort of killed off in terms of their user numbers when Halo dropped. So they are moving on to a new thing, but for some reason the game's finally coming out, which makes no sense with that news article. But
maybe a single-player campaign. Wild guess from me.
That'd be nice, actually.
Next up, we have Wayward Strand, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, also September 15th. I know nothing about this one. Bully, it looks like maybe for you on the front cover?
It's gross generalisation, Troy. Gross. Is there a Weeby? I can't see the picture that well. Is there a Weeby style character or something Disney related to it?
Weeby bottom left to my eye.
It kind of looks Weeby mixed with Disney, so it's literally the perfect 50% of what you would play.
Well, sign me up then.
And I'm not positive, but double check, Billy. I reckon I've seen that front cover on the coming soon to Game Pass list. I reckon you might be able to check that one out for free shortly. And finally, Return to Monkey Island is coming to Switch and PC September 17th. Anyone?
If it wasn't on the Switch, I'd probably jump on it. But I think this wasn't this the basically the reimagining of it with the strange sort of art style that they revealed in June, I think it was.
The developer had to leave Twitter or something like that because he was annoyed with all the hate mail and stuff he was getting.
Oh look, I loved the old Monkey Island games back on the PC back in the day, and I don't know. It's just I'm not big on playing on the Switch as it is anyway, unless they're sort of Nintendo exclusive. And I'll probably hold out until hopefully it comes to either Xbox or PlayStation, I reckon.
There was a Guybrush Threepwood or something like that. That's his name?
Guybrush Threepwood, yes.
There you go. Good name.
And LeChuck. LeChuck is the evil pirate.
Hey, I LeChuck the other night when I had too much booze, but...
All right, guys, that's going to bring us to everyone's favourite segment when I hit this button. No? Oh, had it? Missed it? Oh, well,
no, that's right.
Standoff. No, well, one of the animation. Where is it? I'll find it. No, I've seriously...
Who will fight?
Who will fight the Standoff? I found it. All right, game one. No, wait, before we show it, Unkie, please, intro. What is the rules for this week's Standoff?
So the rules this week, we're looking at the best spiritual successor. Obviously, I'm excited. Callisto Protocol's coming out, and it's the maker of the old Dead Space. It's his spiritual successor to that game. So let's find out of this list. We have 9, nay, more likely 8. When you get to number 9, you'll understand why games that we are saying are great spiritual successors. We're going to find out which one's the best of this lot.
All right, first off, dun, 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 Back for Blood, Unkie.
Back for Blood, obviously a spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead franchise. Obviously, I've already spoken about this tonight and quite a bit during this year as well on G.E.A. as a great spiritual successor. I think it had a bit of a wonky start, but I think with the stuff they've done to it previously with an offline mode, and they've sort of listened to their gamers and made it a bit more user-friendly and less grindy. They've taken down that difficulty as well and created a really good game. The combat is really solid. I never actually played a lot of Left 4 Dead back in the day because infamously Australia, when we launched this game when I was working at EB Games, back in the day it was hard to even get, but then we did get a copy of it and you had green blood back in the day, which is weird to think that the games we've got these days that we had to come to green blood in a zombie shooting game. But those were the times we lived in back in the day. So now we get all that gory gloriness in Back for Blood, and with the recent expansion as well and what they've added to this game, I just think it is an absolutely amazing spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead franchise.
2 big thumbs up for me. I absolutely love everything they're doing with it, and I am looking forward to having a moment to get into that new DLC. I have yet to go hands-on, but I am keen. And, Bully, do I remember correctly? Did you also get the DLC, the year pass, whatever, so it's technically in your library for some point? Could we get a Let's Play in?
Well, I do. It's still... I think we were playing the Let's Plays on the Xbox, but I've still got I did get the PS5 version with all the season pass and the DLC, and still sitting in the shrink wrap up on the shelf there. But I agree. But my only thing is, I know Unkie's put in a bit of solo time to it, but I got a lot more enjoyment out of getting a couple of people involved and running around and just sort of a bit of mindless shooting.
Well, coming as a surprise to nobody, I need the co-op partners to actually get me through it because on my own, believe it or not, I'm pretty useless. So, Bully, next chance you get, mate, let's do a live co-op Let's Play and you can haul me across the finish line.
It's not a platformer, though. You should be right.
Should be. Operative word, should. All right, Unkie, what's game 2, mate?
Game 2 is Yooka-Laylee, and obviously this is a spiritual successor to the Banjo-Kazooie franchise. They'd since obviously released a Yooka-Laylee and the something. Bully, you're probably correct.
Impossible Lair.
That's the one, Impossible Lair, which is sort of more akin to the 2D platforming games. But this game was sort of, I think this was in, it's not early access, but crowdfunded, I think, was what they did with the initial game, and then they eventually brought it out, and obviously you've got your very similar aesthetics with your two characters, Yuka and Laylee, as opposed to Banjo-Kazooie, and the game sort of played like your old school Nintendo 64 platformer, which was great. Not sure everyone enjoyed it more than your Banjo-Kazooie when it came out, but I think it was a really good showing for some of the old developers from that game to create a game from that era in the sort of new generation. I don't think we've seen the last of Yooka-Laylee. Bully, I know you really enjoyed Yooka-Laylee, the more recent one. How did you go with Yooka-Laylee, the original, when it first came out?
I really enjoyed it as well. And I think when they first released it, I think it was a little bit buggy and they had a few issues with it, but they ironed it out fairly quickly. And if you jump back into it now, it actually runs relatively well. And it's exactly that. It's like playing the old Banjo-Kazooies or even the old Mario sort of 3D platforming games from back in the day, but with some controls that will actually work well for you. And, you're not having to fight the sticks sometimes, or, sometimes when you go back to those older games, it becomes a bit difficult trying to readjust and get your head around the old control schemes and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it. You take it for what it is. It's no AAA Mario world beater, but for what it is, it's certainly I really enjoyed it.
That looks great to me. Oh, speaking of looking great to me, game 3, I'll jump in and say it's Demon Souls, Unkie.
Demon Souls, there we go. Well, it's actually
Dark
Souls.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Dark Souls. It's hard because this was sort of it goes up and down because we've obviously had the more recent remake of Demon Souls, but Dark Souls, the spiritual successor to Demon Souls back in the day, where I think is where most people may have got their start in these Soulsborne style games, where it's sort of, I'm not sure what it was about it, whether it was bigger, better, easier. I don't know what it is, more accessible, but Dark Souls kicked off that franchise more so than Demon Souls ever did. So Demon Souls used more niche market, than Dark Souls sort of brought it to the masses, and then obviously it spawned off Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro.
Elden Ring?
We got more recently. Elden Ring is like the more recent version of all that, and it's one of those things that it's hard to argue how big Dark Souls has been as a thing in the industry. It's sort of spawned so many different games now. Like it's hard not to see where a lot of games are influenced by this game. Even now, there's a game that's just come out this week, Steel something, that looks very much like that. There was a game that we saw last week announced, which is set in the Pinocchio world, that's very much Dark Souls-esque as well. There's so many games out there that sort of uses mechanics now, and Dark Souls is where it all started.
Do you think there's any chance we'll get a PSVR 2 release of something Dark Souls / Bloodborne?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. I think those mechanics are way too deep to sort of ever translate properly to a VR experience, at least
Is it the drop rolling through all the pots that you don't think they'd be able to pull off in VR?
Oh, that shit'd be fun, but they'd pull that off. It's just all the other stuff I don't think you'd be able to pull off something.
Indeed. All right, then. Game 4, one of my personal favourites, Bioshock.
Me too. What a spiritual successor to System Shock. I believe we're still getting a remaster or a System Shock successor coming up soon, but Bioshock definitely is where a lot of people will probably play their version of System Shock for the first time and probably have no idea that it ever came from the System Shock series. which was also set sort of underground in this sort of very similar Bioshocky world. But the fact that this obviously went on to spawn Bioshock 2 and then Bioshock Infinite as well, great stories. This is one of those games that, obviously started in that System Shock series, but obviously the Bioshock series, like, you can't speak more highly of it. They're some of the best sort of first-person shooter story games you can play.
Definitely, I can't praise Bioshock enough. Definitely get your hands on it if you haven't already. Also, get your hands on some Shadow of the Colossus if you haven't already. One of my all-time favourites. Unkie, your thoughts?
Well, this one, you could see it as a spiritual successor, but I think by the end of Shadow of the Colossus, it actually kind of links itself to Ico as well, which is where it sort of came from. Same developer, similar sort of vibe, but completely different game. It obviously opened up, and it's had a remaster by Blue Point Games, who also did the remake to Demon's Souls as well. So this game is an absolute classic. It's definitely one of the better spiritual successors to a game that not many people played, being Ico. Like, Ico's got its fan base, but I think you'll find that Shadow of Colossus is known by a wider breadth of people out there and being played by a lot more people. Bully, I'm not sure where's your history at with the Shadow of Colossus and Ico series?
I'm not sure I ever played the Ico one, but I think we talked about it a couple of episodes back with this one, that I think it was the third or fourth Colossus that you got to fight, and you got to sort of poke out from a little structure thing and attack him. I just got hung up on that and couldn't beat him, and that was sort of the end of it for me. I tried and tried and tried. Really enjoyed what it was. Those massive sort of empty worlds until you come up to each of the Colossus and then trying to work out how to battle each one of them. And it looks, especially the remake version, looks absolutely stunning.
It is brilliant. I can't recommend it enough. And I know another big fan favourite is Game 6, The Evil Within, gentlemen. I haven't gone hands-on, but you both love it, I believe.
Oh, you have to. Shinji Megami, this was his game, obviously, after the Resident Evil series, and it did not disappoint. Obviously, back in the day, Evil Within 1, slightly older, still runs at 30 frames per second backwards compatibility, but still an absolute amazing game. The way it's directed and filmed, and just the gameplay itself is very reminiscent of Resident Evil, more so Resident Evil 4, and that it's a bit more action-based when it comes to its gameplay. And then obviously Evil Within 2 expanded on that and has had recently more than 60-frame update and does play very smoothly. But I'm a massive fan of the Resident Evil games. I love their campiness of their, C-grade movie or B-grade movie stuff. But there's something about Evil Within. I just love this franchise. I hope they'd go back to it. Obviously, the developers of Evil Within have then gone on and done Ghostwire Tokyo, which I think, was that this year or last year?
Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo was what, February, I want to say, this year, Feb 17?
This year, yeah. So crazy that was this year, but and that game did start off as an Evil Within 3. I really hope they go back to this franchise, because I absolutely adore Evil Within. I love my sort of horror games and stuff, and this was the perfect sort of next game in that Resident Evil without being Resident Evil. So I absolutely loved it, and this is easily one of my favourite franchises out there when it comes to the horror genre.
I've said it before, I'll say it again, we're coming up towards spooky season, and this is the year I will play Evil Within for the old spooky season, I think. Sign me up, I'll be there for it. Bully, have you gone hands-on? I believe you have, mate.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. I don't think I ever got into number 2, but I've certainly put a bit of time into 1. And I sort of agree with Unkie a little bit. It's got that Resident Evil stuff, but it's got a little bit that Silent Hill influence as well. That it's got that psychological type horror in it as well. That there's things designed to just sort of not so much scare you, but you sort of grow almost the grotesque to the point of just being. That's where the shock for me came into it. Just some of the enemy design and that sort of stuff was probably more impactful for me rather than the actual jump scares themselves. But I think, Unkie, you said before that the second one's a lot better than the first one, isn't it?
Yeah, in terms of gameplay and stuff, it definitely is. It's got a more smoother gameplay experience, and it's really sort of honed in the third-person action stuff. It's not quite as eerie as the first one, just because it's a bit more cleaner when it comes to its presentation. But I think the first one sort of has that when it comes to its atmosphere. I think because of its sort of old school presentation, it does have that atmosphere about it, whereas 2 being cleaner sort of loses a little bit of that. But in terms of pure gameplay, number 2 definitely sort of has it over number 1.
And correct me if I'm wrong, gents, but both 1 and 2 available in Game Pass?
Yep, they are.
Perfect. Sign me up. All right, Game 7 also potentially available in Game Pass. Is it Perfect Dark?
I think so, or at least I definitely own it. I'm not sure if I paid money for it, if I've got it on Game Pass.
I think it's in the Rare collection, isn't it?
Yeah.
On Xbox.
Yeah,
I
it
reckon
is.
that is.
Yeah, I've definitely got it. I can't remember if I paid for it. Probably did, being the whale I am. But anyway, like either way, it was just a weird thing that this game was obviously made by Rare. It was a spiritual successor to GoldenEye, which had nothing to do with GoldenEye, but you could obviously see all the trappings of GoldenEye in this game. They sort of honed the single player experience. I think they created a better campaign and story, obviously, than GoldenEye, obviously based off a movie, but the way they sort of worked this into Perfect Dark itself as a game, they had the great weapons and everything that were a bit more imaginative than GoldenEye. It's just, I remember playing this game thinking, oh God, they've actually done it. They've made a game like GoldenEye, but better, but with a new IP. So I'm really looking forward to what they do with the new Perfect Dark and the franchise going forward. Obviously, it's one of Xbox's new big studios that's working on it. So hopefully it's good, and hopefully they can sort of bring some of that nostalgia with brand new gameplay. But I remember back in the day absolutely, adoring Perfect Dark and hoping to get a sequel that we never really got. We did get the Xbox 360 game as well that I think is also available backwards compat or Game Pass or something as well, which I think was a launch title for 360 from memory. I remember seeing them at an EB Games conference going, oh my God, this game's incredible. It's the first time I've seen an Xbox 360 game and it's real life. And I go back and play, and obviously that was my mind playing tricks on me. And not to realise what was to come in the future. But, I just can't speak more highly of Perfect Dark when it first came out. What a game.
Indeed, what a game. Another game that we're big fans of here, Alan Wake, Unkie. Alan Wake.
Whoo! Alan Wake. Max Payne 1 and 2, obviously made by different people than Max Payne 3 because that was Rockstar. But Max Payne 1 and 2, amazing games. But then Alan Wake came out and just, again, similar kind of thing where you got your slow-mo, but a little bit different where you're not really aiming with your gun, you're aiming with your torch. And just what a game. We obviously had the remaster not that long ago by Remedy, and they've announced number 2 coming out as now a survival horror game, which makes me so excited. I can't wait to see more on this game. Hopefully, probably, let's be honest, probably going to see it either at the end of the year at a Jeff Keighley show, or we're going to see it at E3 next year. But what a game. And then they obviously went on to make Control as well. Remedy can't do anything wrong by my eyes, but what a game Alan Wake was in the wake, no pun intended, of Max Payne.
Oh, yes. Fantastic stuff. Now, everyone's favourite game night. It's the final one. Dare I suggest it's already the winner of the evening?
Well, I was going to ask Bully what he thought of Alan Wake, but I'm just going to leave Balan Wonderland all up to him because it's his game of the year from what I remember him telling me.
Oh, absolutely stunning masterpiece. I don't know. The superlatives are... Oh, I can't lie anymore. It's trash. I don't even want to watch I'm lost for words just watching it. I just can't.
Well, I'll tell you this, guys.
What's a spiritual successor to, Bully?
What's it a spiritual successor to? I don't know. Probably that blister on the back of your foot.
I'm going to tell you, it's Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. Come on.
Oh, please.
How could you not tell?
Yeah, because I remember Sonic morphing into some mushroom-type character.
But in about 10 years, we're going to have the best feature film of Balan Wonderworld ever. I keep calling it Wonderworld. It's Wonderland, of course. Guys, that brings us to the end of the nominees for the Standoff. Personally, this week, I think best spiritual successor for my money has to go to number 4, Bioshock. But where do you gentlemen sit?
I'm sitting somewhere between Bioshock and Dark Souls as a spiritual successor. I'd never really played much Dark Souls, but the fact that Dark Souls spawned as much as it did in the genre and now we're sitting at Elden Ring is a spiritual successor to what Demon Souls initially was, which was obviously a great game that was played by not many. That, for me, sits pretty high on the list. I'm not sure, Bully, where are you sitting?
I reckon well, funnily enough, Bioshock, yes. And I would just reckon a bit of an odd one, a bit of a throwback to the old school was the ukulele, which I quite enjoyed. But I read Bioshock. Funnily enough, I reckon the first time I played this, I played it for about 10 minutes, put it down and thought, what the hell's going on? And went back to it about 6 months later and kicked myself for missing it. It's an absolute masterpiece of a game, and the twist at the end, for those that haven't played it, is fantastic, and the atmosphere and the sound that goes with it. So I reckon that'd have to be my choice.
It's funny you should say that, Bully, because I actually had a thought of my next standoff for next week was actually going to be best twists in video games. So you've got to go ahead there with what was going to be head-tailing that for next week.
Beautiful. Well, Unkie, if you're on board with Bioshock, mate, I say we declare it the winner. What say you?
Let's go with that, because System Shock, let's face it, I don't even know how many people that played it. I never played it, but sure as hell played the hell out of Bioshock 1, 2, and Bioshock Infinite. So it's a pretty decent winner, if you ask me.
Perfect. Bioshock, a winner is you. And that draws us to an end of this week's Standoff. So, segment 4, Unkie, what has been happening in that YouTube chat?
In the chat, we've had Sean Games. G'day, Sean. We've had Rick Grimes, Matt47 in there. With Sean says he might be late. He's just watching the Cyberpunk Edge Runners on Netflix.
Oh.
He's on up to episode 7 already, so he's doing well.
Marathon.
Matt's, what's he got? Fingers crossed the episode doesn't get cut off like the last time. I don't think it has been cut off last time, so I think we're all good.
Well, we had some audio issues.
Now, Bully, I can put you in mind that Harvey says, good to see Bully in the flesh. So there you go. No need to worry about that head being on the screen. I'll continue to hide my head for now. You might get lucky and chuck us some more cash, and maybe you get to see me on screen.
Very good. And I have to apologise. My camera had to leave midway through the show to address a family medical emergency it was facing, Bonnie Ross style.
Well, it's good we wait till the end of the show, Troy, because you're sacked. That's.
Well, I don't think you meant to tell me directly, mate. You meant to announce it in a public, what do you call it? Tweet. You meant to tweet it out after the show.
That's all right. We'll announce it at episode 43 next week. It's all right. You're not. Don't worry, you won't be here, Troy, for it. But me and Bully will carry on without you. It's fine.
Fantastic work. Good luck, fellas.
What else we can't work without you, Troy. Come back. Matt47 just installed Mad Max on PS4. Good luck. It's a great game. He's also had Spec Ops The Line was on PlayStation Plus, but it's now been removed. It's also might come into the twist next week. Where are we? Halo was a slow-moving car rash from Matt47 as well.
Agree.
It's a little bit that way. Hopefully AV can attend and get us back online anytime soon.
Perfect. All right, fellas, that will do it for another episode of the Gaming Enforcement Agency. This one, a little time constraints. Our apologies. But, Bully, I shall release you now, sir. Go off, get some Z's if you can. Unkie Dunkie, you go off and watch a Nintendo Direct, I think, is in line for you, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, that's in line for me, mate. And, no need to go pat a giraffe, guys. Just get Last of Us Part 1. Just reminding you there.
All right, then, gentlemen. I suggest to you that we are, in fact, off duty.
Off duty.
See you all next time. Thanks for watching.
Oh, that was luck.
Hey, that's not it.
I love everything about it. Ooh.
Players play.
Old Uncle Donkey.
Donkey.